it didn't happen today. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was just like, Rah! And then I calmed down, and now because of that experience, I have to cry because I'm sad. Because like, why did I have that outburst?
You got to get it out, because think about what it is. They're thoughts in your brain, and thoughts have energy. And everything you see around you, from this camera, this Zoom, your shirt, your tattoo, guess what? Started as a freaking thought. That's why you got to dump it out, man. You got to let that shit come out of you and get it, and you see it. And sometimes you see it, you're like, oh my God, I'm a crazy person. Look at these thoughts that are going through my brain. But you got to get it out.
That's how I feel. Like if someone overheard me, they'd be like, whoa, I thought she was so nice. She's the devil.
To the Top is brought to you by our friends, the Realty Medics. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing in properties, allow the Realty Medics to be your stockbroker for real estate. Check them out at therealtymedics.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of To the Top. I'm your host, Carlos Alberto Navarro. To the Top is a show that makes you think, makes you laugh, whatever it may be. And the guest that has been on the show the most by at least 2 appearances would be Ms. Savannah Bone. And I could go into a bunch of different explanations of who you are, but at this point, I think the world knows who you are. You are a Gator entertainer. You are a queen of the Gators. You are one of my best friends. You are somebody that is hilarious and funny and thoughtful and many other wonderful things I'd like to say about you.
I knew I was going to need to talk to you today. So it's funny that you told your audience that you didn't need to introduce me, because I was just reading this motivational quote, and it was, hustle till you no longer need to introduce yourself.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's that can work a couple different ways for sure. I mean, I think there's a certain point when people get so famous that they don't feel they need to introduce themselves. Like I've met people like that. A lot of athletes that don't, and I know it's totally different, but like they don't even say their first name. They're just like, you must know me, And I think when you start losing what your first name is when you meet people, it's very odd. And I always remember meeting Derek Jeter and working my first commercial ever, and him introducing himself to me. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, hi, I'm Derek. I was like, aw, you're like super internationally famous, and you still have the humility to introduce yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like obviously people know you from all the things that we've done, but I'm glad that you're one of the recurring guests. Like I told you from the beginning, I said, you're going to be one of the recurring guests.
Yes, definitely. And I'm super happy to do it because I always feel so good afterwards,
Good.
I always feel better after I do your podcast.
Well, how are you feeling in general right now? Because I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little bloated. I'm feeling a little salty. I ate a lot of sausages this weekend. I maybe you might need to pick me up, because I been eating really, really well, working out, and then just hit the weekend and just maximize my food intake. And it's not good. I feel depressed. I felt a bit depressed today, to be honest.
Let me tell you why you're really depressed. The reason you're really depressed is because of all the beautiful beaches in the state of Florida. You picked Daytona Beach for the first beach trip with your family. And that was a bad move. And that's why you're bloated. You're bloated from Daytona.
Daytona got me. That's right. I didn't think about that. Daytona does have a calorie intake. Is Flagler's not considered Daytona?
No.
Right? It's different, right?
No, it's completely different.
Okay. All right. So we ended up at Flagler. So I took my family on a big beach trip, for those who weren't listening to the Monsters in the Morning this morning. And I think it's also the residual beach. I feel like the beach doesn't leave you for a couple days. Like my skin feels tight. I feel nice and like salty. But you love the beach, don't you?
I do. I love the beach. And I love that feeling that you have right now is like one of my favorite where there's like salt water in my hair and there's still a little bit of sand on me in the places they couldn't get it out. I think that's one of the coolest things.
All right. Well, I feel like you said just get used to the sand. Just let the sand be a thing. And I thought about that this weekend.
You got to embrace the sand.
Embrace the sand.
Like,
yeah.
the people that fight the sand don't have a good time at the beach. The people that just go, you know what? I'm going to be sandy. They have a great time because they're not worried about sand, and you can never beat the sand at the beach.
You're right. You're right. And as I looked at my beautiful, gigantic, world's largest beach blanket, and there was sand everywhere, I was like, how do I embrace the sand? Savannah said, embrace the sand. And so I feel like I have a nice tan. I feel like if I can get to the point of tanning, I'm still white right now, but my back has splotches of red, different places. But I feel like I could be like a nice tan Floridian, if you will.
Yeah.
And turn my daughters into one, which is so weird to say daughters now.
I know, that is weird to hear you say. When you said daughters, I was like, oh, Lennon and Megan.
I know. I have those moments. Like, I just had it today, because today was like, especially after like we socialize, quote unquote socialize, more than we have in months this weekend, because it just happened to be a friend was in town that was like, I have been quarantined for 2 weeks. I want to see the baby. It's like, okay. And then we had another friend of ours that has a daughter the same age as Lennon, and they've been quarantined. And so it was weird. Like, we hadn't been around a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden we were around a bunch of people. And this Monday I felt like, all right, I gotta get moving again. And so I'm glad it kicked off with you, with us doing this podcast.
Yeah, like it is. I'm not around anyone, and like, I'm pretty much like a hugger. I love kissing on the cheek when you see
Besitos.
somebody. Like, it's definitely part of who I am. And I think that, like, even though I haven't recognized that that's definitely bothersome to me, because I never would have thought it before, just like coming to the station and hanging out and being with you guys physically, and then like, going anywhere and like giving people big hugs and like kisses on it. Like, if you can't do that, because I'm by myself at my house, like, and you don't want to, and there's no one else I'm going to be hugging or kissing outside my house.
Yeah.
So it really has had an effect on me without me recognizing that as it was happening.
Yeah, I can get that. I totally get that. I felt like I felt that the other day when we had a friend come over for the first time, and it was like, I sat and talked to her, and I could only imagine, I still have, obviously Megan and my kids, and being secluded, even though you're around other people at the park when you go to Gatorland, but then you come home, and I could totally see how that would have a huge effect. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling there. I mean, it's a weird kind of double-edged sword, right? Because you realize how much you need that compassion, maybe not the best word, but physical touch, socializing. It's oxytocin. It's a chemical that releases in your brain when you're with another person, and you share laughs, and you share memories, and you share, bonding and
energy.
Yes.
And just like the massage parlors always have a sign, right? And I never believed it. And it always said, there's no substitute for the human touch. And every time I saw that, I'd be like, whatever. It's absolutely true. They're absolutely right. I might go get a massage just so someone can touch me and I won't get sick.
Hey, I know somebody in Daytona who'd be willing to touch you free of charge.
I was listening to the Slime Bag podcast that you did, and then something happened and it shut out right in the middle of it. So I didn't get very far into it.
Oh, okay.
But I did get he came to play pro frisbee, right?
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He's
just amazing.
Guy. Yeah, he'll I'm sure he'll be back on the pod. If you hadn't listened to it, it's the prior podcast, but he would be so happy to know that you were listening to his podcast, because we didn't even get into his obsession with you. So that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think that's the same reason. Like, you ever seen those sad stories of like those babies in Russia and China and stuff that they don't get touched at all, and their brain starts to corrode. I mean, obviously that's the extreme levels and really sad. But like, I think
what's
we're
happening
seeing that.
To me. My brain is corroding, Carlos.
You're a little Russian baby. That's what you are. You're a little Russian baby, and you're slowly. No, but it's weird. The last time we did the podcast, we were just in the room together, and we just did it, and it was like, hey, here we are. You were sitting across from me. I was, and that seems like it was a whole lifetime ago.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah, remember the times when we used to be able to just like we could eat off each other's food and like we were hanging out and like, I don't know. It's a really like, have you ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich?
Yeah. I got to see it again because I feel like I would enjoy it a lot better this time, knowing what it is.
We'll get back to the podcast in just 1 second, but are you freaking out right now because you either have to buy a piece of property, you have to sell your home? Well, the Realty Medics are right there for you. Like a good coach, like a good friend. Tommy and his team are so amazing at the Realty Medics. I have bought homes with Tommy. He's a good friend of mine, and he's somebody that you can trust. There's a lot of shiesty people out there that just want to make a quick buck on your home. They don't care about the deal. That's not Tommy and his team at the Realty Medics. Check them out at therealtymedics.com. And if you support To the Top, support the main sponsor who's been with us the entire time. And Tommy is there for you. I've sent him so many people and they write me back and go, oh my gosh, Tommy and his team are amazing through and through and through. If you want to give them a call, it's 321-947-7653. And they do so much with real estate. They're literally like your stockbroker for real estate. So contact them as well, Tommy at therealtymedics.com, and say you heard it on To the Top, and they will take care of you because they are first class. Let's get back to the podcast.
I think you would, but one of the things in Being John Malkovich that I thought was so fascinating to me when I first saw it was, the world they live in is at a slant. The ceiling's at a slant, and all the ceilings are very low. So everyone's always bending to go everywhere, right? You don't remember that. And the reason that you don't is because they started with that, right? And it's so consistent that you don't even think about it anymore. You just know that that's the world they're living in.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting. It's not talked about?
No, they never address it.
That's
but it's just like this. Like, it's been happening for so long now. Like, you don't even notice it the same way.
Yeah. I see the parallel there. You're right. It's like, if you would have told me the pandemic would be like this, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought the pandemic was like, no, things are crashing around us. People are dying in the streets. But it's like life continues, but it's like tilted just a little like this way. And I think I most noticed that when you walk and you see everybody wearing masks, Yeah. I mean, to think, okay, 4 months ago, about 4 months ago, it kind of started in the beginning of March. But if you would have said, hey, most everybody is going to be wearing masks because that's one of the best ways to protect ourselves. We're like, man, that's from China. That's people in Japan do. That's Korean. We don't do it. We're America.
Right.
And obviously, some people are still thinking that. But, I mean, I think also we as humans can adjust very quickly. We can adjust to find – I mean, most of us, once again, I'm not – there's definitely a generalization because a lot of us are finding the worst parts about this. But I feel like we adapt pretty well to change. It's resisted at first, but then it's like, okay, I guess I gotta, wear masks now. I guess I gotta wash my hands a little extra. I guess I gotta, I think, I don't know. I mean, how have you been adjusting to it all?
Well, I usually travel throughout the year, like to all different places, and like I haven't been able to travel, and that definitely, like, I keep thinking to myself, well. Okay, so this will be the first year in 3 years that I haven't been to Cuba in August.
I know, it's so sad. I know they miss you.
And that hurts my heart, right? Like, I feel like my family's there. I can't go see them. Now, I also have family in South Carolina, but I'm not taking any trips, so I can't go see them. I can't everyone's life, I think, just got put on pause.
Yeah. I think it needed to happen.
Because you can still do stuff. But you can't do that much, but you kind of can, but you really can't. So, we're all in this weirdo limbo. And I don't know. For me, it's super depressing because I'm a people person. I want to be happy. I want to feed energy. And everyone walking around looking like scary, like I can't. It's not the same.
Yeah. I can get that in knowing you so well. But I also feel like maybe as a society, we needed this break. Maybe we were all going too fast. Maybe we, everything that happened with George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, and the uprising of like justice want to be served. And I feel like that would have just been blown by. And I know obviously there's deaths and people getting sick, and that goes without saying that is horrible. But I think also, like, are our lives supposed to be where we don't spend any time with our family and we just obsess about work? Are our lives supposed to be where we're just barely paying the bills, but we're going to work all the time and not focusing on our own health, not focusing on our own friendships and relationships? Right. I feel like you can't get out of this. You can't leave. This can't be finished. We can't be at the end of this and be like, well, that was horrible, and I'm going exactly back to the way I was. I feel like you have to be reflective of this moment. I mean, you know,
it can't just go back to the way it was. Like, it's different now. Like, the world is different now. It's like you can't go back to, like, you know, you can't. Everything has to, like, it has to change and move forward again. Like, we're in this place where, like where you pause and then all of a sudden there's going to be a jumping off. I just don't know where the jumping off is going to go.
This is where the jumping off is. Ready? This is my theory on where it's going to, I think the solution, oddly enough, is two things. It's not the vaccine. The vaccine's going to be nice. People might take it. Some people will take it. A lot of people won't take it. We'll have another political uprising against the vaccine, the mark of the beast, blah, 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 all this stuff, right?
Right.
But there's never been a vaccine for AIDS. And guess what? People don't look at AIDS and HIV like we used to. Like, it was like, oh, right. Shit, you're dead. If you can't. Now we're like, wow, you can live a life. Magic Johnson's a billionaire. He's doing his thing. There's a lot of, because of what? The treatment. The treatment of this will be the solution. When we have real doctors going out there saying, like, look, we can control this now. The mortality rate has risen, or whatever the reverse is, or whatever. I think that's going to be key. Like, where it's like, no, we can this is going to make you feel better. The treatment is amazing. And two, technology, testing, super instant testing. How is it you and I can go get a drug test and pee, and they can tell if we got meth in our system within seconds, but you can't tell me we got you know what I'm saying? Like, our probation officer could tell us that. Like, that's how it needs to be, where you walk into your building at work and everybody at work has tests, and boom, 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 boom. Did you get your test done yet? No? Okay. Go take it. Oh, damn, dude, you popped. You got to go. You see what I'm saying? I think those are the keys, and I hope that we're getting there. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I like the idea that you said, where you can be tested pretty quickly. You know, I like that idea. I don't know. I don't know if they would be able to do that at someone's workplace. I mean, maybe they can. I don't know. But
that's huge.
It seems like if it's not a drug, and if you got it, it was an accident, and if there's a punishment associated, I don't think they could probably put that together. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
So, like, let's say you're a waitress and you go to work and then they do your test and then you pop that day. Well, it's not like you did something intentionally.
Right. Of course not. Right.
So you're saying they just go home for that day, but they still get paid and then they get to come back? Because that I'm cool with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I think that's an easy way to. That's it. But I think we'll get there. Like, it's just going to take time. And while we're in this limbo, like, we just got to all figure out how to stay happy and positive.
Yeah, I think finding your own happiness, because what's happened is a lot of people aren't able to go to their distractions. What are distractions? Going to a bar, going to a movie, going to hang out with friends, game night. So your distractions are gone, and all of a sudden you're left, and you're a perfect example of, it's just me. Oh shit, it's just me. Okay, now I got to face, and you are an introspective person, and you've delved into your own therapy and you've been a psychiatrist, but a lot of people haven't. A lot of people, they deny their own feeling, deny. I don't want to know what's going on with me, even though they know stuff is going on, and then they can deflect. And you see them. I'm going to go run a 5K. They weigh 500 pounds. The only thing they ever do is run a 5K once a year. Okay, they go to the movies. They buy a motorcycle. They do all this shit. And I'm guilty of it as well. There's stuff that I do to distract. But when the spotlight zooms in, it's like, no, you can't go to your friend Billy's house. You can't go to the mall. You can't go to this. You need to find your own happiness. And I think for a long time, generations upon generations, we didn't have this bullshit distraction. It was like, yo, I gotta go hunt to get some meat to feed my family, and I'm breaking it down and the women are like, look, I gotta take care of this baby. I'm not saying this is how it has to exactly be, but I think we have gotten so far away from that. And, and so I think it's about finding your own happy. You're the only person that's going to make yourself happy. And I learned that from Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's Red Table Talk when we found out that did that make you sad? Do you really care about Jada?
You know what? It really didn't make me sad at all. As a matter of fact, it made me go, I knew it. Like, I just don't, I mean, I think they're a great front.
Oh,
and that's
really?
about it. Yeah.
You really? What I got from it is Will's heart was broken. It looked like Will's heart was broken. And I think my mean woman picker is off because Jada just seems like a royal bitch, right?
But she is, I think. I mean, from all the things that I see about her, like, I don't know. I just get the feeling that Will Smith's just like a really nice guy. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want to do, baby.
What did you hear the background on her? Like, I always knew this because I've been obsessed with Tupac, but like they used to date. And like she was obsessed with Tupac because who wouldn't be obsessed with Tupac? I mean,
right.
I mean, and then Will Smith. This is life. Biggest movie star in the world. Everybody loves Will Smith. You don't meet a person like, nah, I just don't like that Will Smith. You punch that person in the face because they're a communist. And you know, they're funny, they're good looking, and yet his daughter is writing a letter to Tupac saying she misses him. His wife is sleeping with some stupid R&B star named Augustini or some bullshit like that. His other son is writing saying that this person is his dad. Like, I'm like, leave Will Smith alone. He's a good man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is it?
Yeah, but I feel like he is too. I feel like he's a really good person. And I feel like he's probably definitely a pushover.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and it makes me sad because he's so good looking and he's so smart and talented. But I feel like, okay, so I feel the same way about Chrissy Teigen. If we're going to do celebrity dish, I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay, so I feel the same way about,
thing for me.
I feel the same way about John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. I do not like her. She is, her and Jada should probably be best friends. And I feel like John Legend is so talented and so smart and so forward thinking that he's just like, all right, whatever you say, let's do it. Like, I feel like they're these great men and the women are just powerhouses. Now, I don't hate the women for being powerhouses. I just feel sorry for the men in those relationships.
Damn. You know, John Legend, very close to Megan and I, is one of our favorite artists. And I get this, I look at Chrissy, I'm like, how do you, she's so annoying. She seems so bitchy and I love a great couple together. And at first I would see them and be like, I like them together. But yeah, there's just something, I don't know. Well, what makes a good relationship then? What in even
You're asking the wrong person because I'm single. So I'm just telling you how I think. And I also think that Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are a great front. Like, I think they're, you know, the only people that are up there that I think probably really and truly love each other now and will forever are Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like,
really? I did not think that. Why?
Sure.
Why?
Yeah, they love each other.
Why? What do you, of all people, you could say that they're biggest front. What is it? Is your theory that they're both at the same kind of level in the sense of like, there's no, you know, they're both icons in their own right. They're both vocal.
Yep. And they're both super smart and they're connected. Like, you don't see them splashing their drama everywhere. And do you know why? Because they love each other.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Even regardless that the rumor broke with Jada and Will, to sit at the table and talk about it, when, like, think about it, Will wasn't even on social media a year and a half ago or something like that. I mean, that guy was super private. He didn't talk about any of this stuff. And now it's like, I guess like all of us, screw it. Let me talk about it. But I think what you said is interesting in the sense of like, I think you have to both be vocal in a relationship. Like I just had a conversation with Megan a conversation that nobody else could have with me. Like where she was like, hey, did you weigh yourself today? And I was like, no. Because I was like, I knew that I had like over the weekend. And in the back of my mind, the whole time in my head, I was like, damn, man, I let myself down. I've been doing good. And I wasn't sharing that with anybody, but Megan picked up on it. She picked up on it. She's like, talk to me. What's going on? It's like, did you weigh yourself? And I'm like, fuck. She knows, like, and I'm like, she's like, you like killed it with the snacks this week. And I'm like, I know. And she's not berating me, but guess what? Nobody else is going to say anything to me. Nobody that's going to have, you know what I'm saying? And I've been there for her in that same sense. And I think a good relationship has that where it's like, I'm going to push you and then you're going to push me, but we're never going to be at the same level. And that's, if I could pass on anything in a relationship, never both be down at the same time. Like shit's going to happen in life. Shit's going to happen in life. You're both going to be sad. It's going to be horrendous shit. But if she's down here, you can't be down here. You have to be, of course you're going to be down, but be a little bit above her. And then reverse sometimes. Because if you're both down here, it's like, then you're not going to dig yourself out. And the same in raised, because when we used to, back in the day, we used to fight and scream. We were younger. No. And this is before we got married or anything. Because as you know, you're the same way. You used to think a discussion, an argument was who could be the craziest, who could yell the loudest, who could say the craziest shit to put you in your place. And we would always win at that. Doesn't help with relationships.
I have that rage come out, and it's been happening more since we're in the pandemic. I'm going to blame it on the pandemic, but I do still have that rage because occasionally I will find myself calling my one friend that I still have in California, who is also a raging bitch, and I'll call her and be like, let me tell you this. And I'll just go off, and like it changes, even my tone of voice sounds like a snake. And all this stuff will come running out of my mouth. And then once I get exhausted from it, I'll be like, oh my God, I hope nobody's recording this phone call. I just said the worst things in the world. And then I can calm down and be like, all right, I'll talk to you in a couple months.
Yeah. It's a poison. You got to get it out of you. Abraham Lincoln and Obama both did this. And I find this really cool. They call hot letters. Okay. And when I think about the criticism both those guys had, right? Continuous, but they would never let, and this is something I got to work on because I've gotten so much better at not allowing my anger to dictate what I'm going to say or do, because it's usually not a good thing, And
I'm not as good as you are yet. I'm trying so hard.
So what they used to do is something called hot letters. And so let's say a senator was coming at them or a political critic, they would write out an entire letter telling them exactly how they feel. An entire letter. And then they would look at it and they'd rip it up and throw it out. And the act of getting it out would make them feel better. And I've done that. Where I've written out things to people that I wanted to say, but never sent it. And I tell you, it feels good.
Oh, I'm going to do that tonight when I get off this Zoom.
Yeah. So think about that next time you want to jump in somebody's ass and be like,
because there's got to be a way to get it out. And here's what I do, because I feel like there's so many things in the world right now that are so much more important than any little stupid thing that I have going on, right? So I don't want to share it because, like, my problems ain't that big. Like, my problems ain't no big thing, right? People, places, and things. Like, all things I cannot control. I can only control what I do with it, So I keep it inside. And then today, like, it didn't happen today. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was just like, Rah! And then I calmed down. And now, because of that experience, I have to cry because I'm sad. Because, like, why did I have that outburst?
Did you leave? Did you do it to somebody?
No.
You got to get it out, because think about what it is. They're thoughts in your brain, and thoughts have energy. And everything you see around you, from this camera, this Zoom, your shirt, your tattoo, guess what? Started as a freaking thought. That's the inception. That's the real thing that makes things happen, is a thought. Think about that. Think about that. So if you have these thoughts in your brain going, 40 miles per hour of anger, of this, it's got to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere. And you got to let it out. And if not, it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive your body to do things. That's why you got to dump it out, man. You got to let that shit come out of you and get it, and then you see it. And sometimes you see it, you're like, oh my God, I'm a crazy person. Look at these thoughts that are going through my brain. But you got to get it out.
That's how I feel. Like if someone overheard me, they'd be like, whoa, I thought she was so nice. She's the devil.
Yeah, I think we all have it in us. I think we all have it in us, and some of us can tap into that weird side and that crazy side, and maybe because of what we do, where we can tap into it easier. But I think
for you and I, like neither one of us drink now, right? So we've taken that part of the problem away, right? So
sure.
Here's what makes me feel the worst. Here's some true talk right here for you.
Let's hear it, girl. Spill it. I got my coffee. Spill it.
What makes me feel the worst is, okay, I'm not drinking anymore, but I feel like I'm still the devil deep down inside sometimes.
Oh.
Like when I have these outbursts, I'm like, dang, that was already there. Like the alcohol just made it go.
Yeah.
And now that I'm trying to control it, like it's impossible. It's like whack-a-mole, right? Like sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Yeah, for what I like doing is hitting a punching bag, working out. You need to maybe when you're chopping that meat for the gator, that's where it comes out.
Exactly what I did today.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so and like the hatchet was broken, right? So the hatchet didn't work. And so I got to just take this gigantic knife and I was cracking these ribs so hard. Like somebody from way far away came down there and they were like, are you all right? I was like, yeah. Like I had like bone pieces and meat all. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
That's a good way to get your frustration out,
Yeah, maybe not so dramatic.
Why not? Nobody else is gonna cut that meat. You cut that meat, girl. Do your thing. I think once again, you and I have been through therapy and very serious things in the sense of like where we had to reflect on ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think when they reflect on themselves that they're being selfish, that they are then not paying enough attention to their kids or their job or whatever. But I want to remind everybody, if you are not there, if you are the base, you are the basis of it all implodes. If you're not okay, it all implodes. Your family and your job and your everyday life. And so it's okay to be introspective, and it's okay to look at those parts of you and be like, "Oh, that's kind of how do I maintain that crazy part?"
Yeah.
And I think it's good to talk about it because so many people just put on a fake ass front and act like they're perfect. I ain't perfect.
Yeah, me neither. Very far from it, but definitely happy. Definitely love my life. So when I have these little moments, like it upsets my whole balance. But again, like we're in a crazy time right now. Like I love to read people's faces. I can read people's faces and tell you what they're thinking all the time. I'm not able to do that anymore. You know why? Because half of it's covered.
Right.
So now it's very difficult for me to tell the difference between someone who's being genuinely kind or someone who's being a dick.
Interesting. That's true. I think that's part of the mask problem is that it doesn't allow to see, because 80% of the way we communicate is through body language and through facial expressions. So I think that, and I have very mean eyes. Look at this. If you look at my eyes, I don't have very kind eyes. I don't. I look like and my daughter, she asked me when I messaged, like, why are you angry? I'm like, I'm not angry. No, I don't do that. But I just, so I get it because my eyebrows are giant, dark, and my eyes are very dark. At least you have, you're pretty, you got kind eyes. They're not, they're not going to.
Yeah, but I mean, the difference is though, you don't get to see anybody smile. And I'm
Yeah.
always smiling. And like,
Yeah.
I can't match smiles. Like, I can't see someone coming and be like, yay. Even the alligators and crocodiles don't like it. Like, sometimes I'll call them and they'll be like,
Who
I
is
don't
this kid?
know.
Oh, I don't like
I
that.
don't know who that is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to do what we got to do, though. We got to do what we.
Oh, I know.
We
No.
gotta,
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it makes it, every little bit of this leads up to me having like big crying spells.
When was the last time you had a big crying spell?
Like 2 days ago, I think.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, it's okay. Like, it was getting it out of my system, crying spells. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that is worth crying about, you know? Like, I love
True.
social media, and it's great. Everybody wants to put all that out there, thumbs up. I'm doing this. But, like, you know, sometimes at the end of the day, you just need to cry it out and be like, man, I hope everybody gets it together.
It's a release. It is absolutely a release. There's a book called Cry Like a Man, and it deals with it's a black gentleman who wrote the book that talks about how bad black men need to cry. I think men in general need to cry, but how it's looked down upon in their culture. He's a badass.
Yeah.
His name is Jason Wilson. He's a badass karate instructor, and he deals with these kids and he shows them how to cry like a man. Like, in the first off, he's a badass jiu-jitsu guy. He can kick anybody's ass. And then he works with these kids and he puts them to a point of frustration where you could see that, not the baddest way, but like that they're about to cry. And you see these kids break down with their fathers next to them. It's powerful. It's very powerful. And I cry. I can cry at a Publix commercial. I cry at underdog stories. I don't allow myself. I'm a Hispanic man. We are emotional. Okay. Most drinking nights end up with a cry fest at the end. So I think it's a very good thing. And when I hear people that say they haven't cried in a long time, like they can't even remember the last time they cried, it blows my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I almost cried today, but I didn't. Like, but it wasn't like I needed a big cry. It was just like I got kind of, you know, teary a couple times and I just kind of pushed it back inside.
Yeah. Were you at work?
Yeah.
So you're taking your health more seriously. I'm glad to hear that.
I mean, I have been kind of trying, but I was just eating pizza, so I guess I wasn't trying that much.
What kind of pizza did you have?
It's you should get it if you get frozen pizza. It's called
I love
Home
frozen
Run.
pizza.
It's called Home Run Inn.
Had it. It's good.
It's an excellent choice.
Yeah, it's a New York stylish frozen pizza. I enjoy it. I love the cheese, but I feel like I need to go on a pizza, not splurge, the opposite of a splurge, but
fast.
Like fast, a pizza fast. But a pizza fast sounds good. A pizza sounds like, oh, jump in, grab some pizza, eat it fast, go. But it's my weakness. It's my weakness, and I gotta, because once I have one slice, I'm a machine, and I eat quite a bit, and it's really too much when you realize how many calories are one slice pizza, and I have the big New York style like this. It deters your weight loss, and girl, I'm trying to look as good as I can for 40 years old, December 14th. Can you believe I will be 40 years old? You've known me since I was
crazy. It's crazy.
You've known me 22 years.
We've been friends for 22 years. I was gonna touch back on when you were talking about relationships and like how you and Megan kind of balance each other. So it was very easy, like when you and I got to see each other, since I've known you for so long, for you to kind of balance me and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or, "Hey, what's going on?" Now you can't do that. So
what do you mean? When I don't see you, right? Like physically, right? Yeah.
So it's kind of like that's just another one of the voids from all of this that's going on that's not there anymore, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I feel like I've known you long enough that I can pick up on your vibe, even a text. But yeah, that's definitely, you know, I was thinking about us the other day because I'm like, I think a test of a true friendship is if you don't work with the person anymore and they move and you still stay in contact with them. Because I've thought about a lot of friends of mine in the past that I would still, I guess, consider them friends, but I haven't spoken with them in years. I haven't spoken with them. You know, nothing bad happened.
Right.
But just the fact that we weren't in close quarters because we had to be, you know, our friendship kind of, and ours never did. And I'm really happy about that.
Oh yeah, me too. Like I remember even before you were back on the station, when I saw you in the parking lot that day, like that was before I moved back to California again. And
My
so,
God, I hadn't thought about that.
and you had your suit on and you looked so good. And I was so happy to see you. And I had been watching Megan when she had linen online.
Yeah.
Cutest thing in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, some people are just different. And we did go through an interesting time together. I think a lot of it is that too.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bet the best way to relate it to somebody who doesn't know of the radio show or whatever is probably like a band, being in a band and working with people for a long time and ups and downs and craziness. God, I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but I'm very grateful for it because I think as the older you get, the more you really need people that have known you for a long time because, you know what I'm saying? Like some people just know this version of you. And, and this version of Carlos is a very different version than, years past, and the version of Savannah is very different.
I think about that all the time. I think, man, these people should be really happy I don't drink anymore. Like they don't even know how lucky they are.
Yeah, because like I think about not to get back to Tupac, but like Tupac at that point in time in his life, he was 25 years old. Was not gonna be the same person he would have been now as like a 50-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I look at that, and I think that's why when I look at younger people that are just doing stupid ass shit, and I'm like, God, you don't understand. This is not what you're going through right now is not going to be that big of a deal. You're not going to care about it 5 years from now, or you're not going to willing to stake your life on it or risk your life on it.
Yeah, it's an interesting. But I don't think of you and I like as in a band. I kind of think of you and I like this, and you'll think this is funny, right? Okay. I kind of think of it like if you and I had the same dad, right?
Okay.
But you had your mom and I had mine, right? So I feel like we're kind of brother and sister in that. Like, you know, because I knew your mom really well, and I thought she was super cool because she wasn't mine.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my God. Hang on.
Oh, hold on. You got a phone call. Don't they know we're doing a podcast? Damn it.
Sorry.
It's all right, girl. Sorry, you're a busy woman. Is it a gator calling?
The podcast is not live, so nobody knew I was doing a podcast.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, so I think about that. Because, like, I think...
So is Russ our dad?
I don't know. I mean, I never had the father figure in my head about it, really.
Yeah, me neither.
I just kind of had the two moms.
Well, I'm glad that we have that. It's a rare thing to have these days.
Because I would always be like, how come I can't go stay at Spanish mom's house? I don't want to stay here with you.
Man, I think about my mom a lot, and it's weird because it's like, you know, we had this tumultuous relationship, more an adult life, and you know, whatever. But now, like my connection to any of that side is gone. It's weird. It's like, and watching that the documentary last week of
Walter Mercado.
Walter Mercado. It just brought me back to like being a kid and like going to Miami and being around my mom, and like I really don't have that connection anymore. So I love it when, you know, you have that you knew her and you have a connection with her, and same with Megan, that you know, because when they're gone, they're gone. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, and like I always am searching for like what part of inside of me, you know, growing up in South Carolina, like when I watched that Walter Mercado thing, Mucho Mucho Amor, it's a Netflix documentary. You guys should all watch it. I was sitting there watching it like, oh my gosh, I love him so much. How can everybody not love him so much? Like, to me, so I was also a big fan of, do you know who Zuza was?
Yeah, Shusha. Yeah.
love her, wanted to be her. When I first moved to California, I was like, I'm going to be her. I'm going to dance. I'm going to do a kids show.
Well, you're kind of doing it. You're kind of doing it, you know, in your own way. I mean, do you think it's just because, like, these are people who are different and they stood out amongst the crowd, and they were also, like, maybe, you know, not abused, that's a harsh word, but, like, you know, kind of brought down, and then people, you know, but people love them anyway. I don't know. Maybe that's the connection I see with.
I do. And, you know, like, I was in California when Selena died, and I didn't know who Selena was. You know, I grew up in South Carolina, and I remember everyone that lived in my neighborhood, because I lived in Santa Ana at the time, coming over, and they were crying, and I was like, you have to explain to me Selena. And then, so, you know, they were like, oh, you have to hear this song. And then they told me all about her. And then we all ate, and we had this memorial. And, like, I just immediately felt so at home in all of that, that I was like, I love Selena. Like, she's my favorite thing in the world, too.
You have a connection with your ethnicity is Hispanic. I really believe that. You just have such a connection with it, coming from, like, one of the whitest, quote unquote, American places in the world. There wasn't a lot of Hispanic people in South Carolina, right? Growing up.
I don't think I ever saw a Hispanic person in my life until I left home.
Damn. Yeah. That's that had to have an effect on you, you know, in a good way, because it's like,
no, but I did know Ricky Ricardo from I Love Lucy. And that kind of was where I was like, oh my God, he's so handsome.
He wears a suit. He's so fancy. I want to be just like Lucy. Well, I
don't think it's just, you know, Spanish communities. I think it's any sort of community of people that has a struggle or a
marginalized,
or like people that have to have that fortitude within them to make them great, because they already know they're great, you know? And I really appreciate that about people in general. Again, you know, can't be around a lot of people right now, but I love hearing people's stories about who they are.
Yeah, I think that's something that we both admire about. Everybody's got a story to tell. And if you're listening to this and you hear us and we're talking about all the crazy stuff we've done, like, you have a story to tell. Your life has been, you know, a totally personally crafted journey that nobody else has lived. I don't care if you think your life is the most boring life in the world. The fact of the matter is, you're the only one that has lived it. And you're going to encounter people that your journey and your struggles and your successes are going to affect another person, and in the best way. And they're going to click with you, and you're going to talk to them. And you can't do it when you're not looking for it. It's almost like you got to kind of have a keen eye to be like, you know, you see people, hey, how you doing? You can pass them a little compliment. You know, I saw the guy, I was standing in line at the bookstore the other day. A guy had shoes on that somebody had written on them, and you could tell that, but the rest was very prim and proper. You have a polo shirt, some khakis, but his shoes were like purple and pink and all these colors. And I was looking at him, I was saying, hey, man, I like your shoes. And he's like, thanks, man. My wife made these for me, and I just thought I'd wear it. And you could tell it just opened up his whole world. One little compliment. And I try and pass those on all the time. Genuine, not bullshit. You don't want to be bullshitting people. But it's little things like that.
When I was on the way to Australia, I had to go through a bunch of international airports. I had to go through a couple international airports. And one of the ones I went through, there was this guy, and I think he was from, like, either Indonesia or I don't know, somewhere like that. Anyway, he was like 5'1", right? He was the teeniest person next to me I've ever been next to. And so I saw him with his luggage, and he kept turning it the wrong way. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm trying to hide this. And I was like, what is it? And he turned it around, and it was a huge picture of a fat lady. A real fat lady, like a snapshot. And I was like, oh, hey, is that your wife? And he was like, no, it's my stepsister. And she does stuff like this to get on my nerves, but it's the only suitcase I
have. That is so funny. She was pranking him?
So she bought him, he said he needed luggage for Christmas. That's all he wanted. So she bought him a white rolling suitcase with her picture on it, and not even a good picture. Like a picture of her going...
I love it. I think that's
And
great.
he was so embarrassed. Like, it was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Did you pick him up and say, it's going to be okay. I got you now. Go to sleep, little man. Go to sleep. That's funny. I like that joke. I'm going to try and steal that joke. Huh. Yeah.
So you're right. Everybody has a story. Even that guy with his bad luggage.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story to tell. And it's our job to bring it out of them. Sometimes it's our job to listen. Sometimes it's our job to be the story. And I think today during this podcast, you and I were the story. I think the story was this. Old great friends chat about life. Old great friends chat about Will Smith and Jada. Old great friends chat about their personal issues and their ups and downs. And, you know, this is what I wanted. This is exactly what I love about you. And I appreciate you coming by. And, of course, maybe next time in studio.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think, you know, I'm Spanish flu. It took 2 years. 2 years.
You don't think it's going to – this can't last for 2 years, Carlos. Carlos, it can't.
Here's what the Spanish flu didn't have. The internet. Telling a bunch of people not to wear masks. Telling a bunch of people it's a fake thing. Telling a bunch of people that don't listen to your doctors. The Spanish flu, you know what they did? And like what other countries? Okay, I'm going to listen. And I'm going to do what I have to do. If people listened, we would have not been what we're going through right now. And David Sinclair is this genius scientist who does this newsletter on age and science and super smart guy. He, right when the pandemic hit, I wanted his newsletter. I wanted to know what he said because he's not biased. And he was the first guy to say, this is going to be around for a long time. And we are in control of it. And what they're not telling you is masks are very important to this all. This was way before the mask mandate. And I was like, what? I don't need to wear a mask. He's like, masks are going to be a big part of our lives moving forward. And it depends on how much. But after that, we're going to be good because we're going to be a safer. And I believe this. We're going to be a smarter, safer, healthier, cleaner society. I really believe that. But it's going to take great leadership. It's going to take massive federal action. Massive, like the tests we talked about, like the treatment we talked about. And unfortunately, we just don't have that. We just don't have that leader right now. Will it happen in November? Maybe. But it literally takes the entire country's effort, just like a war. We would never have gotten out of World War II or I without a united front. You can't be treating people differently in Florida than you are in Oklahoma, than you are in New Jersey. What does that do mentally? Makes us go, oh, we're different. We're not.
Right.
Crossover state border, there's no stopping there. So I think it's going to take some real leadership and ultimately taking care of yourself too, you know?
Did you see what Scott Maxwell's a local reporter for the Sentinel here? Did you see his Facebook
and a
post?
guest onto the top.
Did you see his Facebook post about the checkpoint coming into Florida?
Oh, there's checkpoints. What's going to be? Checkpoints, yeah.
So once he got back to here, he wrote a story about how there was a checkpoint and the traffic slowed down, but no one checked him, right?
Wow.
And he wrote them back, and they wrote him back and said, yes, we did. And he said, no, you did not.
I did not read this one.
And they said, yes, we did. We check everybody. And he said, but you didn't.
Yeah.
It was I don't know. It was meant to be ironic idea, but it sounded really crazy.
Sounds very Florida. I really do believe we're going to be a better society at the end of this. I think we're going to be smarter. I think we're going to be cleaner. I think we're all looking at things now going, oh my God, we were privy to any disease at any time. We were touching each other so much. I mean, if we were over here with the touchiness and the transfer of spit and saliva and all that stuff, let's be like right here. I think that'd be good, you know. Or we just go super futuristic. Or
but
futuristic.
What do you think young single people are doing? Do you think they're still hooking up in the COVID, or do you think that they've stopped?
If a life-threatening HIV, herpes, all these things don't stop them, COVID ain't stopping them. COVID ain't stopping. Okay? It ain't stopping. Look, if I was single, I would select, and I was trying to be single, I would talk to a lady that I loved. Maybe I wasn't ready to be a boyfriend, girlfriend, and be like, look, if you want to until this blows over, how about we're the ones that swap spit with each other. We're the ones that make love to each other. We're the ones that whatever. That's what I would probably do. Or get locked down immediately. Be like, I need a girlfriend. I need one. I don't know. But there's probably a bunch of people. Slimeback Sammy, he's not stopping. You think COVID's going to slow him down? Hell no.
I don't think so.
No, not at all. You be careful out there. I know you have a lot of boyfriends and a lot of bros after you.
No, I literally go to work, come home, lock myself in the house. I don't go to the store. I don't talk to people. I don't do any of that. I do the show with you guys in the morning. Then I get into my car and I go to work. Then I go and then I do stuff, usually behind the scenes now, more so than out in front of everyone. And then I wrap it all up and come straight back home.
Well, I think that is how we end it today, my friend. I think that is how we talk about protect yourself, protect others, think of others. Everybody's got a story. What else we got? What else did we break off in this? Huh?
Everybody be nice to each other.
Everybody be nice to each other. This is the one world we got. Let's not ruin it, okay? And let's love each other in the best way possible by supporting each other. Savannah, you're my girl. I appreciate you. I love you. And next time, you know what? Next time, we're gonna have it in studio. You're gonna be in your house. We're gonna make it happen, okay?
Woo-hoo!
And I'll give you a big hug. You can hug Megan. You can hug the kids. We're gonna make it happen. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. All right.
That'll be the best.
All right. Love you, girl. And I do know one thing. Today will be a great day. To the top.
Never stop.
Peace.